Okay, Tov to everybody. We want to thank Elizabeth Dorfman for sponsoring this Dvar Torah much at the beginning of the new year. And it's Ilu Nishmat, a wonderful member, past member of ours, Dr. Dov Dorfman, who was known to all of us. Rofei Amiti, Rofei HaNefesh V'Revuat HaGuf. Dov Shlomo ben Reuven Yosef Zichrono Livracha. I've decided that maybe this time, instead of speaking about Parshat Hazinu, but there's a Parsha which is always relatively neglected, and that's the Parsha of Bezot HaBracha. It's on the one hand, we repeat it on Simchat Torah so many times, over and over and over. Every single person gets an aliyah, so it's read more often than most parshiot. But on the other hand, because it's Simchat Torah, so we don't always learn it in some form of any form of depth. We don't really dedicate so many shiurim to it because it comes at the end of the cycle of the Torah reading. So that's why I thought that Ilu Nishmat Dr. Dov, so to say something of the Zot HaBracha, which is going to be in about 2 weeks' time. We all know Bezot HaBracha, exactly like the translation of those words, that this is the bracha in which Moshe Rabbeinu, before he passed away, this is with the bracha that he gives to all of Am Yisrael as a whole and to each single tribe individually. So in introducing these brachot, so the Torah tells us that Moshe says that when Hashem came to give the Jewish people the Torah at Har Sinai, first he went to 2 other mountains. Number 1, he went to Seir, and also he went to Har Paran. And we all know, Rashi brings it, that Har Seir is a reference to, Seir is a reference to a place, a location where Esav lived, and Paran is a place where Yishmael lived. So why is it that the Torah introduces this blessing, or Moshe introduces this blessing, that before he came to Sinai, he went via these places, the place of Esav and the place of Yishmael. So Rashi already brings from the Midrash that it's because he wanted to offer the Torah to both of them, as well as to the other nations. They asked, for example, the people of Esav asked him what's written. He said, Lo tetzach. So they said, I don't want it, we don't want it. Then he asked the people of Paran, in other words, Ishmael, what's written in the Torah? It says, Lo tignov, that you shouldn't steal. So they said, okay, we don't want it. And so then he gave it to Am Yisrael. Everybody asks that this really is very difficult in light of the fact that we know all the nations of the world are obligated in Sheva Mitzvot Bnei Noach. And one of the Sheva Mitzvot Bnei Noach is not to murder and also not to steal. So how could Esav said when he was offered the Torah, and he said to Hashem, well, what's written in the Torah? So Hashem said to him, Lo tetzach. So he said, okay, I don't want to accept the Torah. But in any case, he had to, even without accepting the Torah, he was bound by Lo tetzach, because that's one of the Sheva Mitzvot Bnei Noach, and the same thing holds true of also the Bnei Yishmael. And basically there's there's a lot of answers to this, but the basic answer is that we have over here what actually Torah is all about. It's true that the Sheva Mitzvah Bnei Noach, they did include Lo tetzach, but what Hashem was showing the people of Esav was that Torah includes many multifold madregot, levels of Lo tetzach. For example, we know that a person is not allowed to shame someone, God forbid, in public, to cause the person such embarrassment that he goes red, he blushes, and then afterwards turns white. So much so that this is not just like sort of an exaggeration, But the Tosafot in Masechet Sotah says, why does the Torah in the Gemara many times say that there's only 3 cardinal rules or mitzvot that one has to one has to give up one's life for, and there's actually a fourth, that he's not allowed to shame his fellow man. So let's leave over the other technicalities. Everyone understands that if someone just say shame someone or I'll kill you, that doesn't really have to be killed. That even the halacha. But we see the severity of such a thing. And that's what Hashem, and the same thing when it comes to Hashem speaking about the Isur of Lo Tignov to Yishmael, Vadai, the Sheva Mitzvot Bnei Noach means that one's not allowed to steal. But what does Torah mean? Torah means that it's the same mitzvot, but on a higher level. We're not allowed to steal a person's thoughts. When we, for example, when we quote Dvar Torah, we have to say that this Dvar Torah that I'm saying, it's not my own, it's not my original. I'm saying it in the name of so-and-so. Otherwise, it's like stealing. Or if a person now greets someone and one doesn't answer their greeting, that's considered by the Gemara as that it's stealing. He's stealing. He is like a nachas of saying Shalom Aleichem. So there's many levels of Kedusha. Or for example, even in Avodah Zarah, that's one of the Sheva Mitzvah Bnei Noach, but the Gemara, for example, says a person who is haughty and arrogant, that smacks of Avodah Zarah, that is an Isur. So this is the answer to what we're saying. We're saying, why could the people of Ishmael and the people of Esav, how could they say we don't want to accept the Torah because they're things that run against our personality, against what we usually are aware of? And we said, but they are chayav on Sheva Mitzvah Bnei Noach. And the answer is yes, they are chayav on Sheva Mitzvah Bnei Noach, but only on the rudimentary level, on the very, very basic level. And Torah is that we are chayav on those mitzvot and other mitzvot, but on a higher level. Now, what actually is that higher level? Okay, I've given the examples, but let's define that higher level in one word. The higher level is that the Torah is about changing the personality. That's what Torah is. And that's what Rav Kook and others always say, that's what the word Torah means. The word Torah comes from number one, hora'ah, an instruction. But the word Torah means also or. It means it's related to the word of light. That the light, in other words, that it enlightens us, it banishes the darkness, and that it changes our personality. So what Ishmael, what the Goyim are chayavim Moshe b'nei Noach, but what they only chayavim are is that they only chayavim on the basic keeping of it, but to keep it in such a way that it will change their personality. Not only that it will keep society intact, but it will be Torah, it will be something which is hora'ah, something which enlightens that they weren't, that what Hashem offered them, and that's what they didn't want to accept. And that is the greatness of our Torah. What the Midrash and the Rambam brings in Moreh Nevuchim is that lo nitna Torah ela letzaref et Adam, that the Torah was given in order to purify a person. That's what all the mitzvot, ben adam lechavero, ben adam lemakom. And that's how the Rosh Hashiva Keren B'Yavne used to say. He used to say that, for example, when we speak about Lo Tirtzach means that, okay, one's not allowed to murder. But the Lo Tirtzach means that we have to develop a sensitivity to the Kedusha of the Chayim, Kedusha of life, so much so that anything which in its association to us, what it does is it brings about a shortening of life that we're not allowed. We have to distance ourselves. That's how we have to cultivate our personality. So actually the mitzvah, for example, that we're not allowed to put iron on a mizbeach. What's the idea of this mitzvah? The idea of this mitzvah is that a person to develop the personality, right? To develop a person's inner world, that to change him, that anything associated with shortening a life shouldn't be in contact with the mizbeach. So in short, Torah means light, it means instruction, And what Torah is, when Torah is giving, Hashem gave us something which enables us to be similar to Him, in that we become refined through it. And that's why Moshe Rabbeinu, when he's now introduces the blessing of to the Jewish people, he said, look, the Jewish people, you Am Yisrael are so special. Hashem offered you the Torah. He offered you a system. He offered you his laws. He offered you his thoughts. That's what the Torah is, in which you're able to resemble him, not only to metaken society, but to become people who are more purified human beings. So, Shana Tova to everybody, and Chag Sukkot Sameach, and also a Simchat Torah, all Bezat Hashem in the future.